In reality, cannabis is my therapy, but until I can get some more of that, I just had to crank out these videos as like video diaries, which is so crazy because that's literally what this channel started off as like 14 years ago. But also when I re-kick started it as Captain Jazz in 2000 and whatever year that was, a couple years ago, it's all just been a documentation of my journey back home. And that's not that different from what my media output has always been. I have like old blogs where I was just like, I want to die, but more than I want to die, I just want to go home. But at the time, I believed in Jesus. So I would be like, I just want to go home to Jesus. And honestly, that's still not that different. Jesus in this scenario is just like a very tall brown man. And I'm like, yeah, that's still the goal. Like, I still would like to go home to Jesus, please. So I'm just documenting my morning feelings because once again, I'm going to attempt to work, attempt to collect capital. It's not so much so like, ooh, all the reasons of outlined of war, famine. Again, y'all don't care about your kids, and that's just beyond me. But it's just like, yeah, every demon that you are fighting was hand selected by your mother. And that's word to disenchantment. Fuck Matt Zoning, Groening, whatever that man's name who created The Simpsons and Futurama and Disenchantment and was on that man's plane getting his feet rubbed by kids. Yeah, fuck that guy. And also, I mean, the shows be good. And Disenchantment did a very good job of illustrating that, where she literally had a demon sent to her by her mother. But that's just how life works. Like, the demons that you're fighting were hand delivered to you by your mom. And I had that thought before I watched that show. It's just kind of a good illustration of that thought. But I'm watching it in real time, and it's crazy to witness. Like, it's just crazy to witness how, because it's like, yeah, being a parent is a lot of responsibility, but like, that's why sex education is important, because people need to know how heavy the responsibility of rearing a human is. But that would require people to give a fuck about humans, and the whole world as a structure, our whole societal structure, is to not give a fuck about humans. It's to care the most about capital. If you can get money, you can have anything you want, including your humanity. If you can't get money, you're shit out of luck for anything, including your humanity. And so I'm going to go and hop on the hamster wheel and talk to attorneys and their clients and try to make a little bit of money today. I'm going to just put in the intention, but more than the intention to the old world in which I grind for cash, I'm putting more intention into the new world, which I broadcast myself to the world saying, hey, I'm here. Can anybody see me? This is a message. I'm dead. This is a message. Somebody killed me. I'm dead. I'll be home soon. This is what I keep telling myself. I'll be home soon. And once I get home, I'm leaving again because I really do want to go to the desert. The desert's not my home. The desert's just like, it's my dream vacation spot. Like right now, I'm just thinking, God, I want a vacation in the desert because y'all, I say it every day. I feel like I really do just want to do drugs. That's why the reason that I like drugs so much is because they're fun, and I'm not afraid of my mind. I don't like Chelsea Handler. Shout out to my girl, because she was like, it's not great to do a lot of drugs if you have like a lot of trauma in your brain. And that is applicable, especially if we're talking about like blunt force trauma and physical trauma. Like maybe that would have a completely different reaction. But my brain trauma was like PTSD, CPTSD, like a complex form of PTSD. And the thing about PTSD, it's a post-traumatic stress. Like, so the trauma doesn't cause PTSD, as far as I understand. What happens after the trauma is what causes PTSD. But if you can properly adjust to a traumatic experience, like losing your home, realizing your whole family is dead, being displaced, if you can adjust in an adaptive way and not a maladaptive way. I'm saying like an adaptive way. If you can adapt and continue to be able to properly socialize with the public or properly be integrated with the public, then it's no longer like a post-traumatic thing. It's just, I don't know. I lost my train of thought because I'm not a scholar and I don't have the language. But basically my point is trauma isn't the issue. It's how trauma happens. So like you could be a great, you could be an amazing parent, a fully engaged parent. That doesn't stop your child from experiencing something traumatic, like going the fuck to school and then somebody randomly shooting it up. Like that's traumatic. And especially depending on, losing friends at young ages, that's traumatic. Having betrayals at young ages, these things are traumatic, especially to your understanding of trust. Like people make jokes about like men who are misogynists because that one girl in 7th grade was kind of mean to him and didn't go to the dance or whatever the fuck. Like those things do traumatize a child's brain. What then happens next is the most important thing. And so all that to say, I do believe like there's cures or there's resolve to PTSD or CPTSD specifically, because the complex part of it is that it's typically ongoing. Queer Black femme, it's ongoing. Nobody in this world wants me alive. That's clear from the moment of my birth to the family I was integrated into to the overall global society. They look at me and they're like, bird? Dog. Bird dog? Like they don't see human, so it's just like, I get that. And you can heal those things and then adjust. And I know I'm well adjusted to society because again, I know how to interact in public and I know how to talk to strangers. And I think that's the thing that seems so benign, but the inability to engage with strangers is like asocial. Like if you can't talk to strangers, it's something wrong with your brain. And that's not that's the thing that should be addressed. If it's something that can't be fixed, but I don't think we have the science to properly get to that. So I'm not going to get to that. My whole point is I've healed the trauma that my brain has experienced and now drugs are fun. I waited till I was 21 to drink because I wanted to experiment with alcohol by myself before I drank in public, because I didn't know. And it was just like, I was so afraid of being exposed as something, or it was just something, there was like a fear in the back. It was a paranoia essentially. And I didn't know how to manage it. So I was like, well, I'm going to know. I did it. I know what liquor does what, how much of what to drink to get to what. I'm never going to be caught slipping because I'm always going to be in control, which is a crazy way to think. Imagine if that neuroses interacted with narcotics. Who knows what would have happened? But I waited and I abstained and I was like, yeah, let me get my mind right. Because again, I was listening to Chelsea Handler. She was talking about like she needed to like go to real psychotherapy because she just kept saying, I don't suggest it for people with these brain traumas. And that's typically how you get a bad trip. And I'm like, yeah, that makes perfect sense. And so I did a lot of internal work before I even started smoking weed. And because, growing up in the South, Christian, rural, conservative, the gateway drug of cannabinoids. And it's like, all right, bitch, let me not, because you ain't never been out this town and that's why you date children. But anyway, all that, it's just like a true story. How do I have an uncle who tried to hook me up with his nephew? You don't think that's like, me and him grew up together. He's my cousin's cousin. We're cousins. Huh? Like, I know we're not blood related, but there are billions of people in this world. There's not a scenario where this kid who I grew up adjacent to, we grew up, like every time I visited my cousin, which was yearly, we visited her cousins. So they're my cousins and we call we have the same uncle. And so I call his dad Uncle too, because his dad is my uncle's brother. You know what I mean? But that's somebody in my family that I'm related to because my aunt married him and had a baby. I already told y'all it's cops and white peoples, and now I'm exposing there's predators. Like, so I know the public is made up of all kinds of families, and my family ain't the only one that's got these kind of fucked up dynamics. Most families have these fucked up dynamics because the general public. All that to say, I cleared my mind and now drugs are fun. And so I want to spend my time hanging out in my mind because it's not a scary place. And drugs are a fun way to do that. Anyway, Bye. Every day except for Wednesday.